Hello everybody, and welcome to today's review of Blonde. It is the new film directed by Andrew Dominik, starring Ana de Armas, Adrien, Brody, Bobby Cannavale, and Julianne Nicholson. The film tells the life story of Marilyn Monroe, a very famous Hollywood actress and sex symbol of the 1950s and 60s. This film covers her childhood, her rise to stardom in Hollywood, her romances with Joe DiMaggio and Arthur Miller, played by Bobby Cannavale and Adrien Brody. It also has a graphic depiction of how the men who made Marilyn a star exploited her. Now that I have seen the film, I wanted to share my opinion with you because Blonde has become one of the most controversial films of the year, if not the entire decade. For one thing, the film is rated NC-17. Now, for those of you who don't know, a film is given an NC-17 rating when it's been deemed too inappropriate to be seen by anybody under the age of 17. Now, if you were to ask me, do you think that this film deserved that rating? I would say probably yes, mainly because of two scenes. And I'm going to try to be as delicate as I can talking about this. In one scene, Marilyn is seen having an operation in which she terminates a pregnancy. And we are given a POV shot from inside her. And in another scene, Marilyn is seen with the president, John F. Kennedy, and the president forces her to perform a certain sexual act, and we get an extreme close-up of said act. Now, I want to say that this is probably not the most graphic film I've seen in terms of sexual content, but it definitely ranks high up there. Most of the stuff that we see in the film is less explicit and more suggestive. But if I were to look at the general population as a whole, would I recommend this film to everyone? Absolutely not. This film is definitely meant to be seen by a more mature audience. Now, as to the things that I liked about the film, I have seen a couple of Marilyn Monroe films myself, and there was always something about her that made her such an alluring presence on the screen. And Ana de Armas was able to capture that beautifully. Not only did she have the vulnerabilities of Norma Jean, but she was also able to capture Marilyn's magnetism. In fact, the entire cast did a good job in this film. But I want to make a special shout out to Lily Fisher. Lily Fisher portrays the young Norma Jean when she was a little girl, and my God, what a performance. This isn't a Disney Channel performance. This is a very grounded, very heartbreaking performance. Norma Jean didn't exactly have a happy childhood. She was constantly abused by her schizophrenic mother. She even attempted to drown her own daughter in a bathtub. That is a lot for a child actor to handle, and Lily Fisher just knocked it out of the park. But the scene that got me the most was when she was being dropped off at an orphanage, and we get a close-up shot of her teary face, and when she says, "But I'm not an orphan," that just killed me. I genuinely believe that she has a very promising career ahead of her. Another thing that I liked about this film was the cinematography. It is beautifully shot, and I loved how they recreated certain iconic scenes from some of Marilyn's movies, such as All About Eve, Gentlemen Prefer Blondes, and my personal favorite, Some Like It Hot. That scene was incredible. I couldn't tell if that was the actual scene from the movie or if it was a replica. It was that good. So in terms of production value and performances, this film is great. Unfortunately, it's lousy everywhere else. My main issue with this film was the pacing, and let me tell you, it is awful. There are so many long, unnecessary takes and pauses in between dialogue, which sounded very unnatural, by the way. There were times where I felt like I had to force myself to concentrate on what was happening. And lastly, I will say that the character of Marilyn herself felt very one-noted. I get the fact that Andrew Dominik was trying to show her as this personality that Norma Jean created just to get what she wanted, and that was adoration. The tragic irony of it was that it also became her downfall, because at a certain point in her life, she didn't know how to live without that personality that she created for the screen. And then it just sort of became way too much for her, and she slowly succumbed to depression and drug abuse. And that's all that we get. I was just watching Norma Jean playing Marilyn for 3 hours, and I wanted to see more of Norma Jean. I felt like there was just a lot more to this character that we were not allowed to see, because Andrew Dominik decided that he would rather focus on the darkest, most depressing moments of her life. And after a while, it got a little bit stale, repetitive, and dare I say it, boring. And I seldom use that word. I mean, trust me, I can watch 3 or 4 hour films. I've done it. But as long as it was warranted, this film definitely did not need to be 3 hours long. It could have easily been cut down to maybe an hour and a half or 2 hours. If, in fact, Andrew Dominik wanted to stick with the fact that he only wanted to show Marilyn's suffering. But as a result, I feel like the audience will suffer along the way. Was that his intention? Maybe, but still, it was a huge turnoff for me. And Marilyn Monroe had a talent of turning people on. So yeah, this film felt very disjointed. A lot of people have trashed this movie, but I wouldn't say it is completely terrible. There are some good things to take away from this film. Like I said, every actor in this film brought their A game, and the cinematography and the production value was outstanding. If Andrew Dominik worked on the pacing and fleshed out the characters a bit more, this film probably could have been better. Unfortunately, this is what he gave us, and so I'm gonna give Blonde a C-. Thank you for watching my video, ladies and gentlemen. I hope to see you again next time.